Alright guys, so today I'm going to take a look at all the assets I trade and look for opportunities during the next week, and we are going to start with DXY. So first of all, we need to check the monthly chart, and as we can see we are in a range. We just took the highs and we are dumping back straight into the range. Weekly is the same, and daily is where things start to get more interesting. First of all, we have this bearish order flow. We can see that we have been doing manipulation, expansion profiles, right? And we had this huge gap during last week. We had a small sweep, right? And now I'm waiting for the same. I'm expecting this week to sweep these highs, get inside this daily fair value gap, and take sells from here. I'm leaning bearish DXY, but also as we are in a range and we are almost at the 0.5 of the range, we could see some bullish momentum from here, and if we start to close above this daily fair value gap with momentum, we could see some continuations to fill this gap, as the sweep we had here was very small, right? So that's all for DXY, and let's take a look at Euro. So in Euro we can see that we have almost the same. We just took these highs and we have the same two options as we have on DXY, right? We can either stay bullish from this level, or we can go lower, take this low, fill this fair value gap, and from here keep going higher, right? So those are my ideas for Euro and DXY, and now let's take a look at the other major I think that could be interesting this week. That's the Swissy, and if we take a look, we had this sweep inside this daily IFPG, and now we have this week high from Thursday, and we have these almost equal lows, right? So I'm expecting something like this to trade. As I said, I will only look for confirmations, as after all these sweeps we could see some bullish momentum on DXY to fill this gap and then continue lower from here, right? So now let's take a look at Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is obviously, as I said in past videos, bearish, right? We are just seeing some consolidation slash manipulation before the next leg lower, and that's very clear for me because we didn't have a single sweep of the lows during this low grind up. That's pretty bearish if you ask me. As we can see, during an uptrend we usually see stops of the longs being taken, right? But when you don't take any stop loss of the longs, it's because you want longs to stack up. And why would someone want that? Because they are going to get their stop loss sooner than later, right? And they want to keep liquidity getting stacked. So we have 2 points of interest here. First of all, we are in the weekly IFPG. This we could just go lower from here and it will be okay, but we might go for the monthly and weekly fair value gap we have just above. So I'm looking exactly for either something like this, right, with clear momentum and then another continuation, or we could also see one more sweep again, get into the monthly fair value gap, and from here go for new lows, right? So now let's take a look at Ethereum. In Ethereum we have exactly the same setup as we have in Bitcoin. We have a lot of lows with a bunch of liquidity below. We have to note that this was an SMT with Bitcoin, but right now we have no SMTs with Bitcoin here, so that's also very bearish. And as we can see, we have gotten inside the weekly fair value gap, and we have been rejecting after this last high. As I said, I'm going to take it easy and wait for a confirmation in order to scale in my shorts, but I don't think it will be impossible to see another sweep, the same as we have in Bitcoin, get into the monthly fair value gap and then continue lower. So as I said, I'm very bearish in the crypto market, but we could see one more sweep easily to take some more liquidity before actually going for the lows, right? So let's move to indices right now, and first of all I have to note that I don't think this will be a long-term bottom because we have left a lot of liquidity below, and I think we'll go for them sooner than later. So as we can see, we just took this consolidation, making new highs, and now we have two scenarios in mind. First of all, we could start to consolidate above the previous all-time high, sweep the lows, and continue higher. This would be the bullish scenario, but I think it is less likely to play out. And the other one is actually showing bearish momentum, closing back inside this range and forming bearish continuations till at least these lows. I think this is the one that will play out, but it's obvious that indices are pretty strong, so I prefer to short assets like Bitcoin or Ethereum as they are weak. And this is what I have in mind for the coming months. I expect maybe going also a bit higher before closing back inside the range, but I don't think this low will hold for a lot of time, right? So that's everything for this video. I hope it was useful in order to frame an outlook this week, and let's see if we can print a lot of money this week. See ya.